Welcome to CFC Fan TV. I'm delighted to be joined by Chris from Redmen TV. Make sure that you check out a video that we've just done on his channel talking about the Chelsea team. But before we get into that, check this one out. We are going to explore the threat that Liverpool pose ahead of our must-win match at Anfield on Saturday night. How are you feeling about the game, Chris?
I never really liked the Chelsea games. I think, you know, people might recognise me from a certain video I did a few years ago and stuff like that. Chelsea are a great side and they've got a good manager and they've consistently proven that they can finish at the top of the table or near the top of the table for years. So it's always a tough game against Chelsea. We've done well against the top six since Klopp's come in, generally speaking. It's at Anfield. We've had a poor result midweek against Sevilla. We need to bounce back. Yeah.
So if you, obviously we both need a win going into this game. The draw doesn't do either of us any favours, which is a shame because a point at Anfield from our perspective is generally a great result, but we've boxed ourselves into a corner. We need three. Where will our win come from? If we're going to get a win, where do we need to exploit this team?
Okay, really the Achilles heel of Liverpool thus far this season is when we've pushed too many bodies forwards, to be perfectly honest with you. Now, early on in the season, we played Trent Alexander-Arnold in at right back here. I imagine he'll go with Joe Gomez, who's naturally a centre-back. We saw him play for England at a centre-half. He'll generally sit a little bit deeper. If Alexander-Arnold comes in, you've got two attacking full-backs, and Henderson isn't like N'Golo Kante. Yeah. He's not able to get sideline to sideline in the way that N'Golo can. So really, everybody knows Liverpool's defence is a bit of the problem. Dejan Lovren's not good enough for me. Joel Matip will probably start, but he's come back from an injury. He was a major doubt for the game against Sevilla. We started with Ragnar Klavan and Dejan Lovren as our as our two centre-backs now. Ragnar Klavan has got some mad skills. Defending ain't one of them, right, to be perfectly honest with you. And listen, if we come up against the speed of Eden Hazard and obviously the physicality and speed of Morata, then these two guys will struggle. But really, it's the space that's vacated by Alberto Moreno that could be where we see Chelsea exploit on the counter-attack. So that's really the weakness. And obviously, set pieces.
See, seeing it line up like this, if you were to overcommit, if this were to actually materialise, this kind of overcommitment, I think this is a dream. Like, Chelsea fans watching this now are looking at this and thinking of what somebody like Eden Hazard, Morata, Bakayoko bombing on, what kind of exploitation they would do around here is a problem for you. So I think you're absolutely right. If you were to overcommit, that's the issue. But it's that level of overcommitment that will probably mean that's also where you'll win the game, isn't it?
Exactly, that's it. And it's been risk-reward. And at the start of the season, this is very much how Liverpool would go and attack teams. And that's why we're conceding so many goals, especially away from home, where we conceded, you know, we've only conceded one at Anfield in the league. Which is quite mental, do you know what I mean?
See, yeah, that's very
whereas we've conceded, I think it's 15 away from home out of the 16 goals. It's similar to that.
Chris, this is so delicately poised between us, you know, because our away form is better than our home form.
Ah, damn.
And your home form, is pretty much
miles better. Yeah. So what we've seen over the last few weeks, Rory, is we've actually, because Joe Gomez has come in, we've tended to see something a little bit more like this and less of that overcommitment. Gini Wijnaldum sitting a little bit deeper. And as I mentioned, kind of like Azpilicueta for you guys, Joe Gomez has been playing right back now. He's 20 years old, Joe Gomez, but he's a good centre-half in the making. But because of the experience of playing right back, he's comfortable in that space, exactly like Azpilicueta. Right. And he's played some good, you know, left wingers and stuff over the last couple of weeks, like Manchester United. He did really well against like your Mkhitaryan's and your Martials and Rashford when he comes on and stuff like that. So he's been good. The problem for me is this guy on the other side. He's a centre-back who, when he was playing at Southampton, was playing behind Wanyama and he was playing behind Schneiderlin, and he had two full-backs either side. Very good centre-back in that type of a system, but in space, not a great tackler. And gets his body in all kinds of wrong positions to deal with the attacking threat that's coming at him at pace. So he's definitely, for me, where the game could be won or lost apart from the corners. But equally, when we're attacking, these guys would move up. Mane, being the right-footed, left-sided player, allows Moreno to overlap and him to cut in. Equally, if we're coming down the other side, what we've got is we've got a number 9 in Roberto Firmino, very much of the false 9. He'll drop in. Coutinho will push up from the midfield. What that does is ask question marks of your centre-backs. Am I going to drop in with Firmino, or do I pass him off to a defensive midfielder? And what that allows us to do is bring Salah across from the right-hand side and that's his favourite run. And we've seen that all, you know, the last 3 weeks, we've seen Phil Coutinho, Roberto Firmino hit Mo Salah. Mo Salah's the top scorer in the Premier League, and that's why he's coming in, inverted winger, from the right-hand side onto his left boot, and hitting that space that Roberto Firmino has been vacating. We've been really good against sort of teams that have set up to defend against us in recent weeks. So we've smashed Huddersfield 3 goals, 4 goals against West Ham, 3 against Southampton. They'd come to Anfield to defend. Yeah. I imagine this will be a slightly different test for us.
You've just mentioned there and alluded to Mo Salah's brilliance. There's going to be a lot of people watching this video who have feelings towards Mo Salah because, you know, he was at Chelsea. For me, he wasn't given a fair crack of the whip. How good is he? Have we made a massive error here?
I think so. I think so. And listen, there's extenuating circumstances, of course. He was a 21-year-old lad coming into a new league in a Chelsea side that was filled with talent at the time. So maybe it was right not to give him that platform to showcase his skills, but what it's done is it's mean that he's moved on, and he's obviously ended up at Roma, and he played a very similar position as this at Roma, except he'd be supporting Edin Dzeko at Roma, and he played often as a right winger, but often as a central number 10 as well. Now his game's developed and it's come on massively, I think, since his Chelsea days, and I just wonder whether actually would he have succeeded at Chelsea? I'm not 100% sure, because sometimes what drives us in life is the failures.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've seen it with Kevin De Bruyne as well. He's gone on to achieve great things at Manchester City now. But these things all make the man you are today. And I wonder whether Mo Salah would have been as good without that hair from his Chelsea days.
Yeah, I think that's...
Well, thank you for that anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's one that, you mentioned it as well, De Bruyne, it's one that doesn't sit comfortably with me at all. You know, these people are now world-class playing the game, and they would contribute massively to Chelsea's starting 11 now. And it just feels like a bit of a missed opportunity. But anyway, to focus on it, can I just ask you one more question? Sadio Mane, for me, like, you know, when there was lots of talk about Phil Coutinho going to Barcelona, that for me made sense, because I was thinking you're going to get so much money for him, and he's not even the best player in your team. Like, it was this guy for me. He terrifies me. Yeah. He absolutely terrifies me. How good is he? Is he going to be one of the main problems for us Saturday?
Absolutely. Listen, Rory, Sadio Mane last season was, for me, one of the top players in the league. He's taken a bit of a second fiddle to Mo Salah, but as far as his in-game contributions go, other than goals and assists, he's still just as deadly as he has been. He's not getting the goals because we're playing in a different manner, but when he picks up the ball, things start to happen. Much like when we had Suarez a few years ago, you expect something to happen.
Gives the whole ground a lift, doesn't it?
Exactly what I was going to say. And you've got players like that, I'm sure, in Eden Hazard. They pick the ball up and everybody just gets up that little bit more. So Sadio Mane is still absolutely key. The most important player for me as a Liverpool fan is this guy here, Roberto Firmino. He does not get the credit outside of Liverpool, and maybe even at Liverpool, that he probably deserves. This is a guy who is one of the top chance creators in the league. He is quite comfortable passing it off and just giving people assists, and what he does is he just creates this space, and Salah can go into it, Mane, Coutinho can go past him. He's so unselfish, and his work rate to press and to try and wing the ball back high up the pitch, much like, you know, the gegenpressing way of Jurgen Klopp's sides. Nothing works without Roberto Firmino.
Yeah, crucial. Last thing I can ask you, Chris, score prediction.
I am going to go 2-1 to Liverpool, because I think we will concede. I think it's the scoreline that Liverpool fans have gotten most used to over the last 18 months or so. It'll be a really, really tough game, and to be honest with you, it can go either way.
Oh, mate, I'm so nervous. I'm so excited and so nervous. I'll be up at Anfield. It's going to be electric. Saturday nights at Anfield. You can't ask for much more than that. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Chris, thank you so much for coming on. Rory. Make sure that you check out the reverse video that we've done. It's on Chris's channel. Go over to it now. The link is in the description, and I'll see you all at Anfield on Saturday night. Go on, you Blues.